Welcome to Discover La Jolla, where we shine a light on the jewel of San Diego, La Jolla, California. I'm here with Matthew and Bruce from Batch 22.
Yep.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, thank you so much for coming on our podcast today. We're excited to learn more about you guys and your brand, Batch 22. So tell us, what exactly is Batch 22?
Well, Batch 22 is our version of a classic Scandinavian spirit called aquavit. It means water of life. And it's been made in Scandinavia and Northern Europe for about 700 plus years, but people are just starting to hear about it here in this country. So mixologists and bartenders and folks at local cool craft cocktail bars are starting to use it in cocktails. It's basically, it's a neutral grain spirit. It's the same base as a vodka or a gin, but it's got different botanicals and spices in it. So people often ask us what it's made of and what it's closest to that they might know. And we sort of explain that, you know, vodka, gin, aquavit, even whiskey, they all start out the same way. They start out as neutral grain spirits made from either a grain or corn or something similar. And then if you don't do anything to it, it's vodka. If you add juniper berries and other botanicals, you got gin. If you add caraway to it, you've got aquavit. So caraway, for those who aren't familiar, is the seed on rye bread, like at the deli. It's in the fennel and anise family, but it's not as aggressive and licoricey as fennel and anise.
Right.
So Batch 22 is our kind of version of the classic Scandinavian spirit that has caraway and also dill and a lot of citrus in it. And we kind of crafted it in a way to make it much more sippable and approachable than the traditional aquavits, which are really big licorice bombs, and they're kind of fiery and hot. So we wanted it to be more sippable, more approachable, and also much more mixable for cocktails. So the licorice aspect didn't take over everything. So it's super versatile.
We run into a lot of people from Norway or Sweden who, when they hear, most people in this country, as Bruce said, don't know it, but everybody over there does. And a lot of people from Sweden and Norway say, oh gosh, aquavit, yeah, I don't want any more of that. I have to drink it at the holidays. And it's, and then they taste ours. And pretty much across the board, they're like, oh my God, I never tasted aquavit like that. This is the best aquavit I've ever had, because we mellowed it out quite a bit.
That's awesome. Now, what types of kind of cocktails can you mix with it, or kind of what pairs really well?
You can sub it for gin or vodka in just about any gin or vodka cocktail. And because it's not a big licorice bomb, it won't take over. It'll just add a new depth and character to that cocktail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I poured a little bit of our batch Negroni for you. It makes a great Negroni. We use aquavit instead of the gin. And we thought you could taste that a little bit. I also brought a little bit of Prosecco because for the holidays, we're sort of suggesting that you take the Negroni and sparkle it up with a little Prosecco, which is kind of fun. It makes it much more festive and a lot more sort of a party kind of thing.
Yeah.
So here's a little Prosecco on top.
Oh no, do we have to toast now? Do we really have to?
We've got to at
We
least
will,
Oh, dear.
yes.
check it out. So
Why not?
And so where can people find Batch 22
cheers.
in stores? So they see this interview, they want to give it a try. Where can they purchase?
Well, we're in all the Total Wines in California.
Oh, that's tasty. It
Total
has
Wines.
a very unique flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously gin has a very specific set of flavors.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like the juniper berries in gin. When somebody says, "Oh, gin," I don't. It's usually sort of the bite and the bitterness of the juniper that people don't like. So, Batch doesn't have any juniper in it. We have the other botanicals and spices in it, but it's very gin-like in the way that it works in cocktails. So people don't like gin will actually like Batch 22 in their
Yeah,
typical.
it's a nice alternative.
Exactly.
And you were saying that you can find the product at Total Wine.
Total Wine, Larchmont Village Wine, Spirits and Cheese up in L.A., Wally's in Los Angeles.
Yep.
Down here in
Holiday
San
Wine
Diego.
Cellar in Escondido, Keg and Bottle, and a bunch of other local places too. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, if someone's watching this, they want to learn more, do you have a website? How can they contact you?
Drinkbatch22.com It's a command. You have to
You
drink
have to drink
yeah.
it.
But we've had great SEO. So if you just Google Batch 22, you're going to find us right away.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you'll find all the places we're available there. You'll also find, I think we have close to 70 cocktail recipes up on the
Wow,
website now.
yeah.
So some a little more complicated than others. A lot of them very simple.
And our newsletter, where Bruce writes great, there's stories not about Batch 22, but just cocktail trivia, cocktail interest, cocktail recipes, cocktail trends. He does a great job running that newsletter.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing a little bit about Batch 22. And if our viewers are watching this, be sure to check them out at Total Wine and wherever else you guys are sold.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you so
Yeah.
much. Welcome to Discover La Jolla, where we shine a light on the jewel of San Diego, La Jolla, California. I'm here with Cindy and Bassam from Fierce and Kind.
Hi, Courtney.
Courtney, thanks for having us today.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We're excited to learn a little bit more about you both and your brand. So tell us about Fierce and Kind.
So we are a San Diego-based, philanthropic, and critically acclaimed spirits brand. We have 3 bourbons and a vodka, and I know that sounds like a European movie title, but we have done really well with these. We've gotten medals at some of the biggest spirits competitions in the world. We are in some of the most prominent and iconic restaurants and bars throughout San Diego. And you know, the philanthropic part of it is really important because it's core to what we do and why we do it. 25% of our profits go to our foundation to support entrepreneurship and equity in underserved communities. So what that means is we support organizations like the Komen Foundation. So it's a little bit outside of our normal philanthropic work, but it's important. And we're just coming out of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We have our F&K Cancer collection, which we're very, very proud of, and the proceeds are benefiting the Komen Foundation and finding a cure for breast cancer. But you know, we also support organizations like Adventurous, which teaches entrepreneurial leadership skills to incarcerated people, right? So we're helping people actually live better lives and more balanced and independent lives. And so that's really the core of what the brand is about. Mm-hmm. And on the other side of that is we're giving consumers a choice on, you know, you can purchase any product that just enriches another corporation, or you can purchase Fierce and Kind, and you're actually doing good in the communities in which we live. And we call that ethical consumption. People having that choice of what they want to pick and choose off of a shelf, it matters because they actually get to become part of something bigger than themselves.
Right. I love that. So why did you decide to get into this industry and have such a meaning behind it? Kind of what's the origin story behind Fierce and Kind?
Well, I think we're unusual in the sense that we kind of led with our give back mission. During COVID, we were really motivated to get more involved in giving back. We both have throughout our lives, but we thought, you know what, we can do more. And so then we kind of took our passion and our business skills and experience, and we set to develop a really beautiful spirits company that would automatically fund the foundation and allow us to give back to organizations that are meaningful. So a lot of companies, almost all companies now you see will give back 1% to the planet, 10%. And, but that comes after the product. So we kind of switched it around and led with the mission. And we've both been whiskey enthusiasts for most of our lives. And Bassam had done some research over the last decade or so with exploring how do you start a whiskey company and what's involved. And he pitched it to me, and I thought it was a great idea. So we launched in January of 2023. So we're just in our second year, but it's been going great. And we really believe that it's this story and people's connection and desire to give back and to align with companies that share their values. So we credit a lot of our success to that.
And as a brand, how do you get involved in the local San Diego community?
So we call it our 9 to 5 and then our 5 to 9, and that applies 7 days a week. So we do a lot of events, from the La Jolla Art and Wine Festival to the Coronado Festival to golf charities that are supporting important organizations. People will call us and say, hey, we're doing an event for Komen, for example, at our home. It's our kickoff for our team. Can you come down and bring some spirits? And we do, and we love that sort of engagement. because I mean, those are the people we really care about, right? So being embedded in the community that is helping us thrive is really important to us. It's a different sort of a give back, but it's an important part of the whole mission.
Yeah.
Right?
Now walk us through what types of product that you offer and kind of the different flavors and varieties.
That's cool. So our core collection of spirits, it has this branding. It's this is our single barrel cask strength 110 proof bourbon whiskey. It's an amazing, beautiful whiskey, but just as importantly, the branding is really very beautiful and attractive. And so this is our second bourbon that we came out with. Our OG bourbon is our 86 proof, which is a very easy, lovely whiskey. Easy to drink. You can session on that all night long. People who are even new to the category of whiskey would never consider themselves whiskey drinkers. Drink our 86 proof and just love it. And then we have a limited release 128.2 proof, which is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
It is for
Sounds
somebody.
intense.
It's the last thing you're going to do that day.
Yeah.
It's a great whiskey, but it will definitely sit you down.
Yeah.
And then we have an American vodka, which is one of the biggest spirits competitions in the country out of Austin, Texas. Was one of 3 in the world to have gotten double platinum. It's just a beautiful, creamy, slightly botanical vodka that's unusual. No additives in any of our products, by the way. They're all very sustainable. Our distillery, I'll just tell you one more thing before I talk about the rest of the collection. Our distillery is in North Carolina, and the grains for our spirits come from the farm on the distillery and from a 15-mile radius around the distillery from family farmers, all paid a fair trade price for their grains. So everything we do along the entire chain of our supply sourcing is ethical and deals with people who are engaged in not only treating other people well, but even the earth well. So our grains are sustainable. They all practice regenerative farming, which is just really, really important to us personally. And then we have our special edition bottles like this one. We released this for Pride this year. And the world has way too many straight bourbon whiskeys.
Yeah.
So we came out with the world's first gay bourbon whiskey.
I like it.
And it's really cool because we scratched out the straight and put gay above it.
Yeah.
It ruffled a lot of feathers in the very conservative whiskey world, but it also earned us a lot of fans across the nation. This collection sold out because, one, it's good to be irreverent, and we'll talk more about that in a second, but we got a lot of emails from people saying, it's just good to be acknowledged. You know, we're whiskey drinkers, but in the whiskey world, we can't really come out as being gay, what have you, because it's such a conservative space. So the comments of, hey, it's good to be acknowledged, it's good to be seen, were just really gratifying for us. And this is our latest special release. It's our, it's a benefit, and the proceeds are going to the Susan G. Komen Foundation to fight breast cancer. We call it affectionately because our monogram is F&K, so it's our F&K Cancer collection. Your minds and imaginations can do the rest of that. But we had a New York artist, Pam Smilo, who created this label for us, pink, of course, and you see the little ribbon around the dove's neck. It's just really beautiful, and this is available now and will be for at least another month just to support Komen. So that's our core product portfolio as well as our special editions.
I love that. Well, thank you for walking us through each one.
Yeah.
Now, if someone's watching this and they want to purchase a bottle, buy the product, and try it, where can they find you?
So all of the collections are on our website. We have free shipping if you purchase over $50, so it's a really easy way to get it delivered to your door. And then our straight bourbon and our vodka can be found in Total Wine, Bevmo, a lot of bottle shops around town. Our special release is available in a couple bottle shops around, but the website's a great place. You can find everything there.
And you can go to some of your favorite restaurants. And Mr. A's has our products. The Fishery, one of our favorite burger places called Key and Cleaver in City Heights has a good selection. Whiskey House downtown, Aero Club Bar, just a lot of cool places around town. And if you go someplace and they don't have Fierce and Kind, definitely ask for it. That's how independent brands become big brands. Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. And thank you for watching Discover La Jolla. Be sure to check out Fierce and Kind. Welcome to Discover La Jolla, where we shine a light on the jewel of San Diego, La Jolla, California. I'm here with Hogan Burrell, and he is the owner and founder of Pinkies.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on today. We're so excited to learn more about your brand and kind of the origin behind it. So why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about you and how you got started?
Yeah. So I'm Hogan, obviously. Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, Pinkies is a kind of a niche product in a market that I felt was a little outdated. So it's canned wine, and the red wine is supposed to be chilled. A lot of red wine is kind of lukewarm or room temperature, or canned wine is served as spritzed or carbonated. So I wanted to make something that was kind of the opposite of all that. So we call it just red wine. That's what it is. So I started it because I would go into bars or restaurants in San Diego. I would order red wine, and the bartender would have to like mess with opening a bottle. Bottle might go bad. It would be in a glass. I'd ask for ice in the glass, and they'd be like, "Okay, like what are we doing? Like, why don't you just drink a seltzer or beer or something?" Like all my friends. And I thought of the idea because one night I was at a bar and I had a glass of wine and I was meeting new people. Like I was with my wife, I was with some friends. We had just moved here. I was meeting new people, and they legitimately came up to me and they were like, "Oh, like aren't you just so fancy? Like you're too fancy to drink beer or seltzer." Because I had a glass of wine. I was like, "No, I promise you, I'm the opposite of fancy. Like, this is not what it looks like." So I was like, "Why is wine so socially sophisticated?" So that's where the concept came from, and then 2 years later, we're product in hand.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell us behind the name Pinkies. So
Yeah.
what meaning does that have?
Yeah, so you can see the broken pinky here.
Yeah.
I wanted to make something kind of edgy, you could say. So we took out the eye, if you want to call that edgy. But it's what we're doing is we're breaking the pinky. So the mold of society, the mold that society has on sophistication of wine, we're just trying to break that off. So people drink with their pinkies up. We want to have the pinkies down, aka broken. So Pinkies is just a fun way to talk about a broken pinky, and that's where it comes from. It's not deeper than that. Yeah. So like we call it Pinkies. It really like we're talking about your pinky, but we're just breaking it.
Yeah.
We're breaking the rules, breaking society, breaking the pinkies.
No, I love that. So you're relatively new as a brand, kind of like you said, a couple of years in the works as a concept. And now that you've hit the market, kind of what have you been seeing, or how have you been kind of promoting your brand, whether it's through events, activations?
Yeah, definitely events. We've had product for about 2 months now, and maybe like 10 events, which is like, if you think about it, a ton. That's multiple a week. We're doing as many tastings as possible in restaurants and bars we're in, at liquor stores we're in. We'll show up at 5 p.m., stay there till close, and just hand out pinkies, talk about the brand, engage with the demographic of San Diego. And also bigger events like the Del Mar Fest. I met you at the Del Mar Fest, and San Diego Zoo Food, Wine, and Brew Fest. That's a word, a mouthful to say, but that event was so fun, and I'm just so thankful for the community, like letting newcomers come in and do these events, because it really helps meet other business owners, but also like learn about the feedback of your product, because I have friends and family all day long, and they could tell me Pinkies is dope, but when you give it to someone who you've never met, who has no ties to you, they have no reason to lie about the feedback.
Right.
So it's been so nice to just kind of market to a new audience and like get their genuine feedback. Like that's the best.
And as we move into the end of the year in 2025, where do you see the brand growing?
So I guess you call it sneak peek, but we have white in production. So definitely some more flavors. So white should be here January, February. The red is a red blend. It's called just red wine. Our white will be a white blend called just white wine. We'll have rosé next summer, so it'll be just pink wine. So we'll just be Pinkies, like just wine. So the brand definitely growing to more of a, just honing in on that simplicity aspect and having fun, like doing a lot of festivals, local San Diego festivals like Cross maybe, or Bay Fest, things like that, and hosting tailgates and pre-games, like definitely hopping in with that party demographic and really just making wine a more accessible way to drink with seltzers and beers, etc.
Yeah, I love that you're really hoping to get out there in the community, especially as you launch more flavors, more product. I can see it definitely being a big hit. Now, if someone's watching this and they want to buy a case, where can they shop your wine?
Yeah, sure. So we can, as of a few weeks ago, can ship nationally to any state, straight to your doorstep. So you could buy it online if you wanted. As we know, we're 2 months in, so I self-distribute, so we're going to, I say we, it's me. I'm walking into stores, restaurants, bars, and pitching the brand, pitching the product. So if you're in Normal Heights, North Park, South Park, where I'm located, almost every local store you can find Pinkies at. A lot of the bars you can find Pinkies at, a few of the restaurants. We're going into PB over the next few weeks, working our way up, La Jolla, Claremont, etc. So we're working our way up right now, North Park, South Park, Normal Heights, like almost anywhere you can find it, or online.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Hogan. Thanks for sharing Pinkies. And if you're watching this, be sure to check them out.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's fun.